switch it for me?
A little warning would have been nice.
Well, I know you in technical stuff, Manny, but it's a USB stick. It's not IP, so you should be able to figure it out. He's going to get me for that. Oh, while he's doing that, the shirt I'm wearing. I went to the SMPTE booth and I talked to Sally-Ann and Roberta. And I've known Sally-Ann for years, the first time I met Roberta. And then I talked to Barbara Lang, who's the executive director of SMPTE. We're talking about this and that. Yeah, that's my opening slide. And she said, you have one of our shirts. I said, what shirts? She says, here, and throws me the shirt. I said, what's this all about? Well, they have these little discs they're giving out, black with this written across it. Like a black hole. If we had no standards, where would we be? You'd have no content. You'd have black. So this is their new tagline, hashtag. And it's a free shirt. It says SMPTE on it somewhere. I actually washed it last night, so nice and clean. Okay, this is Monday morning, 9:59 a.m. Not many people read the thing in the back of the badge that said they opened at 10 and not 9 o'clock. So we need time to go for breakfast. And so this is just before they open the doors to the hall. And give you an idea of the crush of the crowd getting in there. This is Central Hall, C1, C2. And nobody gets in there without an exhibitor badge beforehand. And actually, looking at the picture, I'm looking at it, and I see there's Rick Carnavelli, my old boss from CFTO. I ran into him about an hour later. He flies airplanes too, radio control. And this is a slideshow I put together for the Whitby Aero Modelers Model Club meeting we had Sunday night. Some of the guys in the club fly drones, and myself, I fly fixed wing. Drones are. You don't do loops, rolls, spins, implements, you go up and hover here and then come back down. Yeah, who needs that? It's a stable airborne platform, which is much more I can say for some fixed wings, but regardless. Next slide.
Okay, next application is more like. Which one's yours?
It's just
Hang on.
pictures from my hard drive, thrown on a USB stick on a file. Nope. I think that's Mr. Briscoe's. USB, yes, okay. Wham, NAB, that's it. Anyway, cycling through them?
Yeah, one second. One second.
So I set this up before Manny wasn't here. I went to pizza and I got talking to people and never got back time to rehearse it. We tried slideshow, it didn't work. We just stayed in the same slides. Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Use it.
Okay, I think that's that's the second one in. So this is Central Hall. One of the booths I went by. They have a lot of hexacopter, octocopter, quadcopter, tricopter. 3, 4, 6, 8. There's even one there that had double motors like this, where you've got up and down, give you more lifting power. You go through the batteries a lot faster, but you can lift heavy cameras, something like Arri Alexa or Arri Alexa Mini, Reds, as opposed to DSLRs or GoPros. GoPros are pretty light. But this quadcopter in his booth, I didn't get Baravon, is the name of the company from China. And this is Central Hall down near the back. I found this. But there are drones everywhere. Just about every booth had a drone. Next slide. Cobham had this spidery looking contraption where you've got 2 arms out, you've got a motor here, a propeller, same thing here. It's actually a modified quadcopter. The motors give you lots of lifting capacity. Special cameras. I hung around the booth. I got the impression that these guys were making cameras for specific applications like net cams for hockey games, stuff like that. So this is just another avenue for them, having an aerial stabilized platform. A lot of these drones use GPS technology. They have return to home, so if they lose the signal or you tell it to, it'll come back and hover or do figure eights above you. So it runs out of juice and you can catch it as it lands or crashes on it.
Is that thing upside down?
Nope.
Oh. Why is the propeller pointing down?
You just reverse the direction of the propeller.
Oh, there's 2 of them. Oh, okay.
There's 2 of them, up and down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Lots of lifting capacity. You gotta lift those heavy, production cameras. Suppose the GoPros, which weigh, or even the little ones, the dash cam cameras. Got the name.
Your weapon camera just became landing gear.
Next slide. This is a booth over near, I was looking at the Odyssey 7, I turned around and I saw this thing hanging there. It's not the Canon booth, so. Carl, I know Carl is here somewhere, so get nervous. But it was a quadcopter they had there, and they had an XLR, or a DSLR, HD DSLR hanging underneath it, so. Next slide. Miller, which makes tripods and stuff for cameras before, have got this thing hanging above their booth. I didn't ask them about it, but I thought it was kind of interesting that they have drones too. So. Next slide. I think this was over in the upper South Hall where they had the drone pavilion, drone and UAV area. So Polar Pro, it's on this particular model of drone. A lot of the quadcopters, you see the cheapest entry model is the DJI Phantom 1, which looks similar to something like that, with a GoPro hanging off the bottom of it. I think you can get them from BizTech for like 600, 700 bucks, something like that, as an entry level. Some of these drones you can fly with your iPhone. Give me a transmitter any day, I'm an RC guy. Next slide.
Question, possible turn off some of the lights in here? See the or does everything go on?
See how many SMPTE guys it takes.
Yeah, try one more. A little better.
Can you hit this one, Paul?
There,
yeah.
Perfect, okay. Yeah, I'm black, I can hide the dark side. Next slide. Yeah, this is Google Cardboard. Found this over by the Sony booth. They had a bunch of different virtual reality headsets. A lot of people flying radio control. It's called FPV, first person view. Those of you that were here for the last September 9th, we had our meeting down in the Eden Theater. We had a thing on drones. We had a guy from the hobby side, from the Model Aeronautics Association of Canada. We had Paul Hurto and another guy, a drone trainer from Montreal, and the last guy was Ian Hanna, who talked about Skyworks, which is his company doing industrial applications for drones, like mapping heat signatures in people's roofs to find leaks and hydro lines and stuff like that. But to fly one of those, you wear a mask. Basically, Fat Shark is the most popular one for the hobbyists. It's got a little antenna with a little basket on the end of it, which gives you to receive the signal from the camera in the airplane or the copter or whatever it is. So when you look in these glasses, you're actually in the pilot's seat of the flying unit, whatever it is. So that's why it's called first person view. So the plane moves, you're seeing where the plane goes. And some of them have tracking on the headset. So if you turn your head and you're flying the plane, the camera moves as well. It's on a gimbal, so you can sort of see sideways when you're flying forwards. Hopefully you won't run into any trees or anything like that. But this is the cheapest way you can get. Google Cardboard. You take your iPhone and split it into 2 images. And next slide shows the back end of it with a lot of focus with the diopters. So you can use your phone. The resolution isn't great, but that's the cheapest entry. It's made out of cardboard. A couple of lenses, diopters, away you go. Next slide. This is in the drone pavilion. Ascendants, Roxy Drones, a few others. There's quite a lot of interest, a lot of people in there. I'm surprised because it seems to be everyone wants to get in on it. Next slide. A little bit closer shot of this octocopter, camera underneath. They all pretty much look the same. They're all powered by lithium polymer batteries. One thing about LiPos, you have to charge them properly or they blow up. And when they blow up, they disintegrate into tiny little pieces and they spread everywhere. A friend of mine charges his batteries in his basement and he put it on the wrong cell number. And when the battery blew, it kind of slid off the bench and hit the floor as it was melting. And he had a rack of all the wings of his airplanes, got little pinholes in all the wings, little bits of battery that flew off from it. So, remember the song "Burning Down the House"? Yeah, I really been troubled about that for a long time. So I won't be doing that again. Next slide. Of course, B&H is here as well. They're selling drones, the professional source at the top of the cage, and there are people handing out B&H catalogs. If you're at a trade show, you're given a catalog that's like that thick, and it weighs a lot. And the girl said, "Take one." I said, "No." I says, "Why not?" I says, "I have to carry all that weight." No. And even though I had a backpack on, you only carry so much. But yeah, Fairlight, another company out of China with drones. And that's the DJI Phantom 1. The Phantom 3 they had at the show actually had, I believe, was a 4K camera in it. Next slide. Aeronautics. Some of these companies I'd never heard before until I saw them at the show. I mean, I've never seen them in the hobby. I think their focus is, you know, they came out of the woodwork to service the production industry for drones. Everybody knows in the US, to fly a drone, you have to have a special license if you want to use it for, say, news gathering or production or anything like that. In Canada, we don't have as tight restrictions on that, so. This particular drone we'll get to later, I took lots of pictures of it that kind of gets around that. Next slide. This is a hexacopter. This is a LiPo battery, probably about a 5-cell. I've got one similar, 5,000 milliamps. Put a punch to it. That packs probably about 22.2 volts at 5 amps. Probably about 30 or 40 C, which means it can deliver a lot of capacity as needed, so it can deliver a lot of current in a short amount of time. So when you connect the battery, this is a charging plug here, which monitors the cells as you charge it, and this is the actual power connector. When you put it together, they snap. You know, they'll arc across the gap. A little disconcerting. You can burn out a few connectors that way, depending upon how much juice you got going through it. But, the makeup of this, these are speed controllers, electronic speed controllers to each motor. On the side there, and you've got all the electronics underneath here and your camera there. Next slide. Oh, this one's out of focus. The Gold Rush Saloon. If you came in and sat through the demo, you got free beer. Hey, engineers, you know, have free beer, let's go. Of course it was American beer, it was kind of warm.
Is that picture taken after the beer?
This is before I went in there. I took all this in my BlackBerry. You know, I had my little Lumix camera in the backpack, but to dig out and go through all that, it's just easier to take this thing and click and try not to get it fuzzy. I thought I got rid of most of the ones that were overexposed and fuzzy. Next slide. Here's a bit better picture of the Gold Rush Stampede Saloon. AeroVision Pro. This seems to be very popular. The camera hangs below, and there's actually, when they're flying it in the cage there, it's on a control, a servo, so it actually lowers the camera. So it clears the landing gear when you're shooting, and then you can pull it back up when you land. It's kind of neat. I didn't get any pricing on that, and this is a octocopter that's collapsed for transportation. So. Next slide. And I cut off the name of this company from the top of the booth, but yeah, another quadcopter with the double motors. These motors are buying from Hobby King in China, about 55, 60 bucks each, US. Importing them from Hong Kong, well, through Hobby King is, it's not bad, but when you import the batteries, that's when they have to have special delivery, and they charge you a lot because they put it through FedEx, special handling, because the batteries are dangerous. Kind of like the batteries are on a certain model of aircraft. Boeing 777?
787.
Yeah. Those weren't LiPos, those were lithium-ion batteries that had a bit of a meltdown. Not good, especially using to control your braking system. Next slide. Voyager 3. More drones. They've taken the props off the end of that one. Pretty popular. Next slide. Monster. Yeah, this thing is huge. I think from this motor to that motor was probably about 6.5 feet. And double motors, a lot of lifting capacity there. I think this one would, 20 to 25 pounds. And it's actually, I have a picture of one flying inside the cage there. Next slide. What was this? Aerialtronics for the drone, see. One of drones. Next slide. I got excited when I saw this. Hey, look, a real airplane, and they look closely. It's a tricopter. Fake nail. Next slide. I thought this was Peru Productions. It's Pel Productions. They fix GoPro cameras. Like if you happen to smack them, you can send it to these guys and they'll fix it for you. You can make modifications to it, hot rod it up with some of their stuff. So I grabbed their car. Figured friends of mine might be able to use this if they have a unexpected landing. Next slide. Hobbyco is one of the big model airplanes in the U.S. One of the distributors of a lot of airplane related stuff. Of course, they run the show. Next slide. Horizon Hobby. You could enter a draw and win this drone. So I entered it. So I figured I was like, win a drone. I said, "Do you ship it to Canada? And will I have to pay the shipping if you ship it to Canada?" "Oh no, we'll look after it." So, okay, yeah, sure, we'll see. But I doubt if I want it. A lot of people entered for it. Horizon Hobby, they make a lot of airplane stuff. I have a few of their models. Icon A5, little ultra micro thing, fly off the water, great little plane. They also make radio control systems called Spectrum. Next slide. Another shot of that fake plane. Next slide. More copters. Next slide. Another shot of that monster from the side. Next slide. This is the cage, actually with something flying inside the cage at the moment, behind the mesh. See a lot of people there. Next slide. That's the audience listening to a guy give a presentation while people are flying behind them. Next slide. I think he just landed at that point. So next slide. And so they actually had 2 whole rows behind here. It was all drone stuff. Kind of interesting. Next slide. Give you an idea of the audience. Listen to the guy speak and watching the drones fly behind him. And you got a place to sit down. Yeah. You didn't find that a lot of AV this year. Next slide. Flying the octocopter with the camera. Next slide. This is outside. I had to go over to Sony for a meeting at 2 o'clock with some of the mailing list guys that have a tour of their booth. So on the way over, I took a shot of the quadcopter booth. Was outside, running between the South Hall and the Central Hall. Next slide. A little close-up of their camera. Not sure if they got, well, Sony, I'm not sure what it does. Maybe Dave Keller can tell me what that is. And there's, of course, the gimbal. That's pretty popular. Next slide.
And they said that one was at 10 pounds.
Hmm?
And they said that couple was at 10 pounds.
Okay, this is the tethered drone. This is Photokite. A couple of Swiss guys, that's the drone, there's the tether. In this little box, he's got a control for the winch on there, in and out. 20 meters, 66 feet. In the US, you know the regulations about flying drones. This is a kite, this isn't a drone. Regulations don't apply. Got a little GoPro Hero 4 black in there, and they've got RF link to the monitor here, you can see what he's shooting. Powered by a LiPo battery, 4-cell in there, it's 14.8 volts. 100 watts, run it for half an hour. $10,000 US.
Hams are doing the same thing right now for hoisting vertical antennas.
Yeah, you can do that.
Run them tethered all 24 hours a day, all day long. So.
So you got power running up the cable, so it works. But I figured $10,000, and I asked him what happens if a prop hits somebody and hit a drone in front of running full tilt. He stuck his finger in there. Edges aren't sharp in the props. So. Next slide. Oh, I thought I changed it. Sorry. Next slide. Take the projector.
This must be
and
after
tilt it
beer.
this way.
Yeah, exactly. The rodeo.
Progressively worse.
He's got a tablet in his hand. Right hand is the control for the drone, up, down, right, left. The other one is control of the camera gimbal. So. And the trigger records. What's that? This is actually in the North Hall. just down from where Jenna was. Next slide. These guys have come from another place, looking for spare props to borrow from these guys. The drone community, you know, it's a brotherhood. And, am I in the picture? No, it's off to the side.
Yeah, your legs are in there.
Yeah.
Panasonic booth, of course, they had a drone, a GH4 hanging off of it. Kind of fuzzy, sorry, I spent more time looking at the 4K Barry cam than I did at the drone, but just a quick shot off the thing on the side. Next one. I think that might be the last one. Two drones flying in there. You can see in this one where they've lowered the camera below it. And then when they go to land, they pull it back up and land the drone. Sometimes the landing gear comes down, so it clears the shot. Next one. Oh yeah, I forgot. In the cage. Next one. Yeah, I got up real close. It was about, probably about 7 feet away from me. We're in a way. Next shot. Next slide. And up and rapture. But basically, they come up there, and most they can do is slide sideways and then stop, and then sideways and stop. You've only got so much space, so nobody is doing any, you know, rolls or anything like that. So boring. Next. That might be the last one. Next one.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. So you can see DJI was a major sponsor of this for China. So that's my presentation on drones.
Great, thanks, Reid.
Throw it back down.